Welcome, everybody, to the Bassfug Podcast. Today, we are joined by a very special guest, Jose Morales, a.k.a. Paniik, all the way from Miami, Florida. Paniik, thank you for joining us on the podcast today. I totally appreciate it.
Thank you for inviting me. What's going on?
Not too much. There's something I want to talk to you about while going through your discog. I notice some themes. I'm noticing a lot of themes in your work. And I notice lately the themes are a lot about, and now I'm not trying to, make you characterize you a certain way, but it seems like lately your songs are about sort of relationships and love. Whereas before you had sort of more of a harsh kind of thing going on, like fake friends, betrayal, but I'm wondering what was the shift, if that was because of life experiences, or are you just sort of playing to the radio, trying to get the hits, and that's sort of what people consume the most?
It's a mix between both. There's obviously the radio hits because the people really enjoy that, just because what do you call it?
Love is universal.
You can relate. Yeah, you can relate to that a lot, especially love, and being that of a strong word. You could 100% relate to that, and a lot of people can. And it's also live experiences of big trust issues. It's my biggest thing. Trust issues is my biggest thing. So that's the thing there.
You're talking about trust issues now. I don't want to, pretend to be a therapist or anything like that, and we don't need to go into it. But it seems like a lot of music, whether it's hip hop, R&B, or it could be EDM or classical. Betrayal is a common theme, and trust issues as well. I'm wondering if you care to kind of expand on that, and if why you feel like it's good to be vulnerable that way and write songs with the content of trust issues, because that's really personal. Talking about trust issues, especially if your friends listen to your music, they might even know who you're talking about, when you're writing these songs. Are you cryptic about it, or are you super honest about it?
I am super honest about it. It's funny enough that you said like my friends and stuff, because they do listen to my music, and sometimes they do know who I'm talking about. Especially my roommate, Carlos Mora. He's actually in a few songs of mine, like Paradise and songs like that. I talk to him a lot about like my relationship life, and it's sometimes he knows who I'm talking about, or even my other friends from back home in New Jersey, they know exactly what I'm talking about. And it's basically, man, it's it's like really trust issues. It's I don't even know how to explain it or get into it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You mentioned New Jersey. Maybe we could go to the very beginning and just sort of talk. I know you're young. You're one of the younger producers we've had on the show. Let's achievement unlocked.
Achievement.
Can we talk about sort of what your first music memory was? What you remember? I think you grew up in the Dominican Republic. I believe you're Caribbean, so you must have been listening to a lot of different style of music than what you would hear. Maybe not in Florida, but in the rest of the definitely New Jersey. I'm sure the music you were listening in New Jersey was a lot different than what you grew up listening to. Is that correct?
Yeah, that is very correct. Born and raised Dominican Republic, Santo Domingo. It's always been Spanish music, salsa, merengue, reggaeton, dembow, like all that stuff, which is obviously Spanish genre. And that's where I was raised to. My mom also enjoyed to like listen to very 80s, 90s music, like English. Even though my mom doesn't speak English, she just listens to them. Yeah. So
my mom, I'm Colombian, and my mom was the same. She listened to, what was Enrique Iglesias' dad's name? Julio Iglesias. But she also had that guy, Bruce Springsteen cassettes that she would listen on repeat. So it was weird. It was half Hispanic music, half, Huey Lewis and the News. Do you remember what your first music memory was when you were living in the Dominican Republic?
Oh man, that's a really back there question. Not really. The most thing I remember was being the biggest Deadmau5 fan, which is where my EDM comes from.
Really?
He's always been my favorite producer, and just it's the live I want. It's his.
It's strange because although you have EDM influences in your music, I wouldn't classify you as an EDM artist as a first guess. Do you have like a side project where you produce more EDM music, or are you just drawing inspiration from it?
Actually, at first, if you I don't really tell anybody this, but if you look up Paniik, let's say in SoundCloud, you're gonna find there's two different accounts. Where's mine, which is like obviously the big one, the main one. And then there's another hidden Paniik with like a little profile picture of like an owl that I
Okay.
did when I was like really young. And in there, actually, it's all my EDM songs that I used to do way back then. Um, I used to make progressive house, big room, and like all those types of EDMs, like Dead Mouse, like house, Dead Mouse, Swedish House Mafia, like all that type of inspiration. And I used to make songs about it. They sound really bad. Obviously, I would not recommend for you to listen to it. But if you do want to see, like hear my history from like back then that account will definitely have it for you.
What made you switch over? What made you go from that style to this style?
So that style was when I was in Dominican Republic, especially my brother got me into Dead Mouse, and it's just kind of been EDM since then. And then when I was like super young, I first moved to New York. That was the first place I ever moved to in the U.S. I moved to New York, lived 5 years there, and that's where my music started to change. I started listening to more hip hop and all this other stuff.
Yeah, there's definitely the hip hop sort of influence of New York. I
Yeah,
imagine. Did you play shows when you were in the Dominican Republic, or were you too young to play shows at the time?
I was super young. At the time, my dad used to own a club, a little nightclub in DR. It's actually one of the biggest nightclubs in Santo Domingo area. And I used to go there. I used to walk in at night before they opened because obviously I wasn't allowed to be in there. And I used to play with the CDJs. They were like the big, beefy old ones, the Pioneer CDJs.
Mm.
Yeah, and I used to mess with those, and that's where that part came from, the EDM live.
Oh, so you were playing live when you were in Dominican Republic.
Kind of. You can say.
Okay. Speaking of playing live, were you playing shows before the coronavirus bullshit that's happening now, or were you just strictly producing?
I played one show before the coronavirus. Me and a bunch of my friends, we got invited into this one school to play my first show ever. It's actually my first and only show ever that I've ever really played. We got invited to there. We went there and sang a few songs for people, and yeah, it was a good time.
Okay, so I don't think you were that hit by the coronavirus then in terms of like your musicianal career.
Yeah, not really. No, just yeah.
Just going with the flow. Let's talk about lyrics for a little bit. We were talking about themes, but I kind of want to. I want to kind of, I guess, zero in on the lyrics here. First of all, I know this is going to sound kind of stupid, but I want to know, how are you writing your lyrics? Are you writing it with pen and paper, or are you putting in your iPhone or whatever?
Actually, funny enough, I've never really written a song.
Okay, what do you mean?
Most of my songs, for example, I open up my DAW and I get a guitar sample, or I'll have one of my roommates make a guitar for me, or I'll make a piano, a MIDI, or something like that. And then like I'll just think to myself, like, what do I want this song to be about? Um, a good example of that song is one of my newest songs, Sad Songs, which is basically it's just that guitar. You know, I found that guitar on Splice, I dropped it in my DAW, and I just freestyle the entire song. And it's been like that basically every single one of my songs. It's just freestyle and just going with what's in my head and what the mood is.
Wow, what are you using for a DAW? Ableton, FL Studio?
So since I graduated Full Sail, I use mainly FL.
Okay.
FL is my baby.
Mhm.
Yeah, I know it from back to the front and everything else. And then I also use Ableton. I use Pro Tools. I use Studio One, which is actually my favorite DAW, even though I don't use it as much.
Mhm.
Logic, I know that stuff, and GarageBand, of course, but nobody really likes GarageBand. Sorry to anybody
No,
that uses it.
it's you gotta. It's not the machine; it's the person behind it. You know, we've interviewed people using all sorts of weird shit that are really talented. Um, that's interesting. Can we talk about more about your production process? I'm still kind of blown away that you don't actually write down your lyrics and that you just sort of improvise when you sit down. So I'm kind of taken aback by that. I almost kind of don't believe it. So at no point you don't have like a notepad or something where you just jot down ideas.
Not really. No. There's some times where I do, like, for example, if I'm stuck,
Mm-hmm.
like bringing back to the example of sad songs, that was just a guitar, and then I just kind of thought about, like, being in your room alone, and just like, what would you do if you just don't want to hang out? So then the hook came out, which was, I don't want to go back home, I don't want to hang out. Well, that's like the verse, but it's just basically that. Like, I just want to be home, be all alone. So that hook came to my mind, like, literally straight up immediately. And then I just kind of, whenever I make hooks, I kind of start off with one word, or like just like a sentence, and like what it's about, and then I just go on through there, and I just kind of freestyle everything. But there's some times where I'll go in Rhyme Zone, or I used to use this one notepad online where you basically, like, click on one of the words and it'll tell you everything that rhymes with that word. It was meant for musicians.
Really?
Yeah,
Online rhyme notepad. Huh.
it was so cool. I can't remember the link for it either.
I'm sure we'll figure it out and we'll put in the show notes. It's crazy because I listen to a song like Demons, and you listen to it and it sounds so methodical. When I needed you the most, you weren't around. And you're going like, fuck,
Yeah,
like this guy who's very young, like, no offense or whatever, is
you're good.
experiencing this shit, and you feel it. So for you to tell me that you didn't even write it down and you're using a rhyme a rhyme thing online, I'm kind of like, okay, it's not what I thought, right?
Yeah.
So what are your plugins that you're using for your voice, if you don't mind talking about it? What is your do you warm up your vocals? Do you do any type of vocal training? Did you have vocal training?
Funny enough that you asked that. Everybody always asks me this, and I, like, the response always like shocks them. I've been singing for 2 years now, but like a year and a half.
Okay.
Like, being serious, a year and a half. I've never taken any vocal training, never been to any vocal, like, school or anything like that. I don't have any musicians in my family. Just kind of came out about. It's just like a hidden talent that I had. Um, and the vocal processing part, shout out to one of my favorite person. His name's Blue Bears. He basically bullied me into making my voice sound good, which was, so I use Autotune Pro by Antares.
Okay.
I have Vocal Mix Track by Slate Digital, which is the most, like, slept on thing, and I wish everybody used it. And then I also have another compressor in there by Slate Digital. It's called I think it's FBC Gray. Yeah,
Okay.
FBC FG Gray. That's also my vocals. Another compressor. I have Pro DS by Fat Filter, a de-esser, a gate, which every time I show people my gate, they always like, "Why is it so high?" Like, it's because I don't record in the studio. I record in my own house, and next to me there's a massive AC that's constantly blowing since I live in Miami, Florida.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then right at the very bottom of my chain, there's a little altar boy, which adds texture to my voice and adds, like, that very dark low end in the very bottom that you don't really hear until you actually pay attention.
Mm. What kind of
And
microphone are you using?
my microphone is a Aston Stealth,
Okay.
my favorite microphone. I love this thing.
So where did you learn to do all this? If you said you didn't have anyone in your family that was musical, I maybe you don't see it, but I might disagree, because if your father owned a nightclub, you were probably, maybe he wasn't a musician, but you were probably surrounded by musicians at some point. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but there has to have been someone that mentored you at some point to do this, right?
Um, like, in the family aspect, especially when I was, like, super young, not really. It's always been we just listen to music. There was nobody to like, listen to a song. Like now in my age and like from what I know, I can't just listen to a song and enjoy it. Like if I listen to a song, I have to like, decipher the song, like hear the low end, hear the mids, high
Yeah.
mids, highs, all the frequencies, hear the vocal melody, do all that, like just like bunch of stuff and science in my head.
Yeah.
So when I was younger, I had nobody else to do that with. And when I was young, I actually wanted to be a pilot. My dad was really big into planes, and actually, I still know a lot about planes, and I still love that career till now.
Really?
Yeah, it's actually one of my biggest hobby apart from cars. I just genuinely enjoy like planes and stuff like that.
Huh. It's funny. My father was also a pilot, and he told
That's so
me
cool.
something about a long time ago. A famous politician was in a plane crash. They're flying over the ocean, and he told me, yeah, son, when you're flying over the ocean, it plays tricks with you. You gotta trust your instruments. And the reason why
Yeah.
I'm saying this is because I find when you're mixing, especially if it's a Friday night and you're making tunes and it's like 6 hours, your ears just go to complete shit, and by the sixth,
Absolutely.
yeah. So you got to really trust your meter, and your DAW and your tools, and look at what you're doing and trust your instruments, because otherwise you're gonna wake up the next morning and the mix is gonna be completely borked. So
Yeah.
I'm not surprised when you tell me that you have a passion of flying, and for planes, because it's flying and audio production are similar in a lot of respects. If you look at the cockpit of an airplane, it's basically a studio, right?
It really is. Yeah.
A modular synth. So how did you discover what to download? Like, how did you know? Did you just go, I want to know how to make music, and then you just YouTubed it and you went step by step, or did someone show you what Ableton was and all that stuff?
Actually, it was just like that. I just decided. I just kind of, it's just a snap in my head from one night to another. I was like, what? I just kind of want to do music. And then being the fact that I was born in the Caribbean, where everything is literally music, I just kind of wanted to make my own and make my name be known, especially in my country in DR, which is not like very known.
Mhm.
Everybody knows it for their tourists and the beautiful beaches and all that stuff. But I also want everybody to know the music, and I want, especially here in the U.S., I kind of want to become a huge name, and then everybody be like, "Oh, this guy's from Dominican Republic. Let's
Mm.
go there."
Yeah, for the hometown.
Yeah.
Do you find that you're still kind of drawing influence from the Caribbean sound,
Oh
or?
yes, yes. Yeah. Um, so I have actually, I think, 3 songs. I have 3 songs that are very Dominican. They have like the Dominican beat, Dominican everything, except for the language itself. So I kind of wanted to be a little different, because I speak Spanish perfectly,
Mhm.
but I don't actually speak it. I don't enjoy speaking it. I only speak it with my family because my mom doesn't speak English, so I have to talk to her in Spanish.
Yeah.
Um, but I have these songs that they're all Dominican, type songs
Mm.
with English lyrics on, like English lyrics on it. Sorry.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's great. That's it adds to the originality, because sometimes, going back, not to talk about my family or whatever, but I know when my mom came over, she wanted me to assimilate as much as possible to Canada, right? She was just like, "No, you're Canadian, like, you're learning this, like, this is your new home," right? So it's nice to see that you're still representing your I guess your birthplace, right?
Yeah.
Uh,
I That's my favorite place in the world. I love that.
let's move on to the production, because I noticed we talked a little bit about the DAWs. We talked about your microphone, what you're using for your vocals, but I noticed you have really good beats. But sometimes I think you have guest producers helping you out as well, right? Um, I, well, maybe I got it confused. I think there was you collaborated with a Diddy.
Yeah, did he?
I noticed the beats are really good. The synths are really good. You have quality backing tracks. I was wondering if you want to talk about that and maybe walk us through how you're producing your beats and your melodies.
So my whole like production style. Shout out to Diddy. He's one of my producers actually. Diddy and Nothing. So they're like a duo kind of thing. So Nothing does all the melody parts. He does like all the synths and all the guitars that he gets, like all that stuff, and then he passes it on to Diddy. Diddy does the beat part, all the drums and 808s and all that beautiful part, and then um so that's how that comes on about. My whole production style is basically I'll just go on YouTube and just find a beat, and then I'll make an entire song under that beat, and then I'll take the beat out and then take my vocals, and then I'll send it to Diddy and Nothing, and then they'll come back to me within like a day or two with a brand new beat and basically a whole new different scheme and all that beautiful stuff, and then just and it just goes on from there.
Oh wow! Do you find that affects the original theme of the song? Like maybe, or is the beat that they come back with usually pretty comparable to what you were using in the first place?
There are some times where you'll find like you get attached to a beat, which is actually one of my biggest problems. When I use a beat from YouTube, I get a little too attached to the beat. But after doing it for a while, you just kind of have to like just trust the process and just kind of, I put my 100% trust on Diddy and Nothing. I just say, here you go, vocals, have fun, free, limited to do whatever you guys want with it. And then within the day or two, they come with a beautiful masterpiece.
Yeah, because I noticed like some songs, like ashamed, not to go back to the singing about girls or love or whatever, but I couldn't imagine, you get a beat to use as your demo, you record your vocals on top of the thing, and then you send the beat away, or sorry, you send your vocal track to the producer. I guess you have to put your trust and your faith in them to sort of represent what you were feeling to the demo beat, right? Huh. That's interesting. I think you're the first person on the podcast that does it that way that I've heard of. It's not good or bad. I've never heard it yet.
It's I mean, I'm not a big hip hop producer. I don't produce a lot of hip hop because hip hop actually takes a lot. Everybody seems to say hip hop is the easiest genre to make, but it really isn't. Like there's a lot of things that goes into hip hop, especially to make it different because there's so many producers that's doing the same thing. Obviously you have your kick, your clap, your hi-hat, and all that beautiful stuff on it, and that everybody else has, but it's that melody part where you have to be different, and that's the part where I'm not good at. So I just kind of let Nothing do all that, and Nothing takes the beat and makes some it's a bunch of guitars, which is like my favorite type of music, or my favorite type of beats is whenever it has a guitar on it. And then that gets passed on to Diddy, and then Diddy makes the finishing touches of it.
It's funny that you mentioned that, because I think especially with a lot of hip hop beats, especially contemporary hip hop, like the new stuff, a lot of it is just the vibe. It's like maybe they got some cashmere kick or something like that, but the songs have like a soul to them. They might not have the same complexities as say like Carlos Santana or something like that, but but you could get the same vibe, and you don't even really need to hear the vocals to just sort of be like, oof, there's something going on with this, right?
That was like one of the vibes with when we first made Demons, actually. That's actually a really good song. Demons was like that when I first heard just like the first like few like 8 bars of the beat. I was like, oh yeah, this is gonna be a hit. But yeah.
Can we talk about collaborating and finding collaborators a bit? Like for someone who's listening right now and they want to kind of get started, and maybe they want to, they're sort of in the same boat as you. They go, well, I could produce, but I want to find someone who's better than me at producing what I got in my head. How do you find these people?
So that actually ties back to my history, especially with this music stuff. What happened was I actually joined Twitch, which is everybody knows it for gaming. And funny enough, Twitch actually has a music community that really nobody really knows about.
Oh wow.
And if you actually go in there, you find producers like Jaws and actually Deadmau5 used to do it for a little bit. and there's a bunch of producers, and I just kind of I made a family there. There's a lot of people that I love there. There's a lot of people that I know and that I 100% trust, especially Blue Bears, which actually the person that showed me how to mix and master and do all the processing in my vocals. I met Blue Bears on Twitch. Um, I also met Prop on Twitch. I don't know if you guys heard Prop, but he just got signed and he's making beautiful music. And Marshmello just reposted one of his songs, and
that's awesome.
So I met Prop as well. I met a bunch of other people, and so I kind of went on Twitch and I started basically just asking like Twitch people for like or not Twitch people, that sounds weird. Like streamers will be like making beats, and I'll be like, dude, send me the beat and I'll make a vocal for it. And that's how that went on about. Some producers send me beats and I'll just drop a cool melody. And back then my microphone sounded like absolute garbage, but still I had some nice melodies, some cool runs and stuff like that. And then my name started to get out, Paniik, Paniik, Paniik. So now you go on Twitch and you ask for Paniik, and 9 times out of 10 somebody will probably know who Paniik is. Or even if you're on a random Twitch stream, you might even find me chilling there, because I'm just constantly on Twitch and I'm constantly talking to people on Twitch and hanging out with friends from Twitch. And that's how that went about. I also had a few songs of my own, especially like if you go on my SoundCloud and scroll down to the very bottom, you find one of my most popular songs, Die Young, which is it's not on Spotify because that is a beat from YouTube.
Okay.
And I kind of posted it there in SoundCloud, and I took the link of that song and I posted it back on that YouTube where the beat was, and then everybody from that beat come in and like the song and stuff like that. And then I'll go on Twitch and then I share it for feedback, and then people will be like, oh, dude, this guy's a really good singer. And then I started having people who just like randomly hit me up, be like, dude, you want to do vocals for this? You want to do vocal for that? I'll be like, dude, sure, why not? And basically my name started to get out there. And now 2021, now I charge for vocals, mostly because my views are up.
Yeah. And why not? It adds value to it too, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
People don't appreciate free shit at all.
That's so true.
I'm gonna start charging for this podcast. No, I'm just joking. But that's incredible. When you're telling me this, I'm just sort of listening in awe. Like, I'm a bit older than you are, and well, more than a bit. But I can't imagine having something in like 1998 where I could hang out with Trent Reznor from Nine Inch Nails, and he like teaches me how to program a synthesizer or something like that.
Yeah.
That's so incredible. Or even just be in a room full of other would-be producers sort of sharing knowledge. It kind of existed a little bit on like a more primitive scale with like IRC and SoulSeek, but like on Twitch, that's crazy. They could literally just show you their own VST rack and just walk you through the whole process, right?
And that's what I do. Actually, 4 days ago, I actually streamed for 12 hours.
Oh,
it was
wow.
the randomest stream I've ever done, the longest stream I've ever done.
Okay.
I probably won't do it again. That hurt my ass a lot.
Okay.
But I kind of just hang out, make some music on Twitch, and people will come in and be like, dude, what do you use on your vocal? And I'll just run them through the steps, and they'll be like, dude, I learned so much. They're like, dude, you got it. And even so, even if you ask me, if you just if you have my Discord, which Discord is where I'm at the most. If you have my Discord, and you just shoot me a message like, dude, can you send me your vocal rack? I'll gladly send it over. I mean, I won't charge you for it, because you won't sound like me. That's the thing. You can't really sound like me.
Of course.
You could have the same thing that I have, but you won't sound like me. You have to actually put in the work. So.
Yeah, for sure. If you had Chopin's piano, you still got to learn how to play fucking piano, right?
Exactly.
I'm wondering now, because you're telling me this, I'm wondering if I should start doing the podcasts on Twitch. I wonder if people would be interested in that or not. Huh.
Oh yeah. There's just a lot of things that happens on Twitch. Actually, one of my friends, Fantax, used to have a podcast where it was called the Fancast, and he would just have random people come and show in, and he'll ask them questions and talk and different stuff like that. And then actually one of my friends, Nexi, had also a a podcast where he had one of the actually he had the owner of Future Collective, which is a very popular collective in the music community, in the smaller music community. And he asked him a couple of questions and stuff like that. So it wouldn't really be a bad idea. Some people would definitely watch it.
That's awesome. Jose, thank you so much for your time. I totally appreciate it. Is there anything you want to talk about before we go?
Definitely follow me on the Instagram.
Yeah.
Shameless plug right here.
No, do it. Give us your socials.
For sure. You can follow me on Twitter at SplitOG. You can follow me on Instagram at Paniik Official. And I have a few songs. I have a song coming out January 18, which is actually my birthday. Oh. It's actually me and my best friend, my roommate, Carlos Mora. We have another little, like, it's like a dance hall kind of vibe song. You know, you kind of hang out with your girl on the beach, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Coming out January 18, my birthday. And then I also have a release with one of my good friends, Never Know, which is coming on Seven Clouds on YouTube. It's going to, oh shit, I like completely forgot the name of it.
That's fine. You can send us the link and we'll put
it up. I got it.
Okay,
I remember.
Okay. We'll put it in the show notes. Yeah. If you like.
Yeah. So that song, it's going to be called Fucked Up, me and Never Know, and another producer as well. And then, like I said, January 18, I have a new song with my best friend, Carlos Mora. And that song is called Go On.
Excellent. Paniik, thank you so much. I totally appreciate your time.
Thank you.
And best of luck.
Thank you so much, brother.
All right. Take care, man.
You too.
Okay. Bye-bye.
This program was brought to you by the superwill64.com Entertainment Network. For more great shows, podcasts, and music, please visit superwill64.com.